Already 9:03. Oh, here we go. They're starting to come in. They're probably in the waiting room.
That makes so much sense.
There we go.
I was getting very good morning. We are recording, so I'm going to stop talking about stuff that's not important. I want to welcome everyone to the June Urban Chamber of Commerce Coffee and Commerce. Our guests are making their way in, and Delisa is making them available so that we can all meet and network with one another. I see Nick Steele. I see Tish Bryant. Tish, we really got to connect. Damon Hodge is here. A lot of folks here. So happy that you're all here, and we're going to bring them into a position where they can introduce themselves. We have a great panel of other chambers. We invited several other chambers to join us today, and the greatest ones did to network and share about their particular chambers and what we are all doing together throughout the community and the business community at large. I love how they laugh like they didn't know they were the greatest chambers. Of course they're the greatest chambers, of course because they're here.
I knew.
Peter sat back confidently like, of course the greatest chamber is here. I mean, hello, that made sense. And so let's see here.
I mean, Sonny's here, so it's the greatest.
Exactly. I mean, Sonny's here, Christine's here, you're here, and naturally we're here. So, all of the great chambers have come together to put together this event. Let's see here. All right. They are here. Give me a moment because, I'm not the host, so I can't. So, Delisa, as the host, you're able to make our attendees panelists so that we can see them. I don't have that capability. I can only chat with them.
If she hovers over the 3 dots on your name, she can make you a host.
That is correct. She normally is on that, but because, as I said a moment ago, Delisa does everything, and I do mean everything. So she's adding them on now. I see that. So again, I would like to welcome all of our attendees. I would like to thank all of our panelists from the various chambers around the community. We're going to have a great discussion talking about all of the things that we all offer to the community and how we help and what we do specifically and generally. But to our guests who are now being made visible and available where we can see you, I'd like to ask our guests, all of our attendees, this is still, in fact, Christine and I were talking, we were 2 of the folks talking about the fact that we love seeing one another. We as humans like that physical interaction. And in lieu of that, please turn your camera on. It's okay if you didn't do your hair. I didn't do mine either. It's okay if you didn't brush your teeth. I did brush mine because I don't like the taste of morning breath and coffee. But if you didn't, it's okay. We'd love to see you. Hey, Alexandria, how are you doing? Hey, Tish, I see you're inside today because it's so hot. So go ahead and turn your camera on. Allow us to see you. Let us network with you. Also, I'd like to ask everyone right now, before I forget, to please go ahead and put your contact information in the chat. Because again, since we're not in person, we don't have the ability to exchange business cards as we would in a more traditional sense, but we do want to give everyone the opportunity to connect with one another. Speaking of connect with one another, this is the point in the morning where we give everyone an opportunity to introduce themselves. Now, of course, our panelists, I'll give them the opportunity to introduce themselves when we get to that point. But for all of our attendees today, again, welcome to the June Urban Chamber of Coffee and Commerce, Urban Chamber of Commerce, Coffee and Commerce. Wow, I'll say that 3 times fast. Hold on, clearly I need more coffee. There we go, it's like spinach to Popeye. I'm the only one old enough to get that joke. Anyway, we're gonna give all of our attendees an opportunity to introduce themselves. Now, as I continue and I see cameras coming on, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Monica. We're going to give everyone an opportunity to share who they are. But here's how this is going to happen. If you've never attended one of our Coffee and Commerce before, it is very important that I begin by sharing, as I often do, what we not gonna do. Yes, I said what we not gonna do. I did use my urban vernacular because I can. Because it makes a good point. So I know someone came in today, they have a full PowerPoint presentation. They've got a good 5-minute intro that they've prepared and they've practiced, and they are ready to wow us with exactly who they are, what their company's all about, their 10-point plan. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. Here's what we're going to ask you to do. I want everyone to give us three very, very simple pieces of information. Three very simple pieces of information. I'm going to say it again. Three very simple pieces of information. The first one is the most simple of all. Your name. Everyone knows your own name, right? Okay, we're not in kindergarten. You do know your own name. The second is your company name. Everyone knows what company you're representing today. And if you're one of those entrepreneurs that are multifaceted, you got about 10 different things that you're doing, pick two. Because again, I know someone came with about a 10-point plan of all the things they're doing, all the projects they're working on, all the things they're excited and passionate about. And I appreciate that, just not this morning. And so give us the company name. The third thing, this is the most important. The third thing is what is a good lead or referral for your business. In other words, you're here to network. There's somebody that you like to meet. There's some kind of business that you like to meet. And again, you're in a unique position today because we have several chambers of commerce from throughout the city who are here. And so if you share the kind of businesses that you're looking to connect with, the kind of people that you're looking to connect with for your business, then this is a great opportunity to find some of those folks or know someone that does, which leads me to my last point. The reason that I made sure that everyone puts their contact information in the chat, and I will encourage you to do that throughout this morning's Zoom, is because somebody on this Zoom might know someone that you need to know, or you might need to know someone that's on this Zoom. So if you know someone that needs to know someone that when they introduce themselves, or if you need to know them, hey, make sure that you reach out to them on the chat. You can do a private chat. I know that a lot of that happens throughout the Zoom where someone direct messages someone. Feel free to do that and make sure that they know, hey, I need to connect with you after the Zoom. Now, fast forwarding just a little bit, when that connection comes, here's again what we're not going to do. We're not going to reach out to one another with all this information and say, hey, you need to buy my widget. You need my opportunity. No, we're going to connect after this meeting and say, hey, let's get together, as we were discussing before in years past, get together for coffee or get together for Zoom so I can learn more about what your business is about. You can learn more about what it is that I do, and we can build a referral relationship with one another. This is not your opportunity to do your sales pitch because someone showed interest in what you were doing. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if someone showed interest in you, you don't pull out the diamond ring right away, right? So with that being said, yes, networking 101. I'm going to give everyone an opportunity right now to do their 15-second introduction, your name, your company name, and what is a good leader referral. Now that everyone's in, they've all, Christine, adjusted their respective backgrounds as well. That's why their cameras were off before. And so this is like musical chairs. I'm going to go in the order that it is on my screen, or like Hollywood Squares, not musical chairs, Hollywood Squares. Again, I know I'm the only one on here old enough to know what Hollywood Squares is. Tiffany shaking her head like, yeah, I don't get that. That's before my time. I don't understand. So I'm going to save our respective panelists for last. And when I call on you, again, your name, your company name, and a good leader referral, I will let you know when you're coming next and ask you to go ahead and unmute so that you can be ready to go. And since my good friend Tish is already unmuted and got her coffee ready, I'm going to ask her to go first, and I'm going to ask Alexandria to unmute because you're going to be on deck. So Tish, kick us off, please.
Good morning. I'm Tish Bryant with Capstone Risk Management, Capstone Brokerage. Good leader referral for me is any business owner who is looking to enhance their business through risk management and find insurance.
Awesome. Thank you, Tish. Direct and to the point. I love it. Alexandria, I'm sorry, Monica, go ahead and unmute. You are on deck. Alexandria, please introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Alexandria Hughes. I'm a business services ambassador with the Employee NV Business Hub. And the perfect lead for us would be any small business that wants to tap into state and federal resources, or maybe other resources around the state. We'll help you find points of contact or resources.
I love that. Resources is code for money, y'all. Just letting y'all know. That's just put that out there. But she's being very professional and polite about it. But I'm just saying, if you're a small business and you need some money, yes, I said money, Alexandria is the person to reach out to. Tiffany, please unmute. You're on deck. Monica, please introduce yourself this morning.
Good morning, Popeye. I'm Monica Grasser with Brazen Architecture. We primarily perform civic and higher ed and commercial work, along with our community-based engagement and design work. A good referral for us would be commercial resources, as well as grant writers. So that would be for our community-based work.
Awesome. Thank you, Monica. So glad that you're here. And you can be my olive oil this morning. Manny, go ahead and unmute. You're on deck. Tiffany, please. I love that smile. It is so, I need my sunglasses. It's too bright. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Darren. I am Tiffany King. Good morning, everyone. I am a representative with the SSGA You Promise 529 College Savings Program. That is a state-sponsored, I know, that is a state-sponsored college savings program. So I work alongside the state treasurer's office to help families save for college. So who I'm looking for? Everybody. We need to bring awareness and educate Nevada on the many opportunities available for families to save for college. Too many of our families do not have the money when it's time. So I'm looking for tabling community events, employer events, because you can use the 529 as a voluntary benefit. So if you have any events, let me know. I need to educate
don't have
the
an
masses.
event that I'm going to talk about yet, but Tiffany, I just have to ask. See, this is
Yep.
one of the I love about introductions. Do you know Rhea Watson with Scholarship Solutions?
I do not.
We need to fix that because
Okay.
what you just described is almost identical to what she does. So we'll make sure that we have that conversation. See, the benefit of being the host is I don't get to just direct message. I get to ask that question out loud. And Rhea might actually show up. Delisa, if you reach out to her, she might actually be able to make it. Anyway, I don't want to take up additional time. Ashley, please unmute. You're on deck. Manny, please introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, everybody. Manny Garcia, my company, Sherman Industries. I invented these data receptacles. They're modular, they're self-retaining, and you can change your inputs at any time. I'm looking for letters of interest from architects like Monica, any contractors, any kind of installer that would write me a letter saying this is a product that I would consider using. I have investors that are pretty much waiting on that, and we can start production at that point.
Awesome. I love a startup right here. I feel like I'm in Shark Tank right now. That is awesome. I feel like I should start asking your sales numbers like I'm Mr. Wonderful. Anyway, Manny, thank you. Glad that you were here. Eric, please, I don't want to mess up your last name, but please unmute. You're on deck. Ashley, introduce yourself, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashley Randolph. I wear a lot of hats, so I'm just going to give you two for this morning. I am here on behalf of the NAACP's Economic Development Committee and also as the president of the Pink Boots Society, which is a professional organization for women in the fermented beverage space. A good lead for me would be anybody that sells alcohol, drinks alcohol, purchases alcohol. And yeah, thanks.
I think that's most adults nowadays. And Ashley, one of the things I'm excited about our city and our communities opening up is so that we can do a live event with Ashley. I met her virtually, and she's been talking about fermented drinks, and we haven't had an opportunity to do a live event so that we could talk more about fermented drinks. And that's all I'm going to say about that. At any rate, Chandler, please unmute. You're on deck. Eric, please introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning, and thanks, Darren. My name is Eric Frenchek. I'm a business banker with Nevada State Bank, and what I'm looking for are businesses that have been in business for at least 2 years. They're looking for financing to, expand their product line, improve their cash flow, refinance or purchase commercial property.
Again, more Monty. Thank you. Very much appreciate that. Damon, go ahead and unmute. You're on deck. Chandler, please introduce yourself.
Morning, everyone. My name is Chandler Cooks. I'm with the Economic Opportunity Board, and a great lead for me would be resources or money that could help us combat poverty here in Southern Nevada.
Awesome. Well, there you go. The two people have already talked about money already, so I see some connections that need to happen, it sounds like. Let's see. Kim, so glad you're here. I haven't seen you in a while. Unmute, you're on deck. But first, Damon, introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody. Damon Hodge, Southern Nevada Water Authority, and the Las Vegas Valley Water District. Good leads for me are businesses that want to save money through conservation, as well as those who are interested in doing business with the SNWA or the Water District.
I love Damon's voice. I feel like I'm on NPR radio right now. Like, it's just awesome. I love that. That was this really cool, smooth voice. It's great. He has a voice for radio, which is much better than having a face for radio, which he clearly does not. So at any rate, some of y'all will get that on the way home. Let's see here. Joseph is here. Awesome. Unmute, sir. You're on deck. Kim, go ahead and unmute. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Kim. I'm the headshot photographer. Good lead for me are people who need the good headshot for the business. Thank you.
Awesome. Kim, I mean, it is important. I'm not saying, I'm just saying it's important to have a good headshot because it's part of your brand. It's part of who you are. You want that on your business cards. You want that on your email signature so that you can maintain that brand. Oh, wait, my camera's off. There I am. So that you can maintain that brand consistency. So Kim is definitely the person you want to reach out to get not a headshot, but a good headshot. It's important to have a good headshot. Joseph, so glad that you're here. Lori, if you'd unmute Lori Stevenson, you're on deck. Joseph, introduce yourself, sir.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joseph Lee, and my company is Spot On. A good lead for me is any small business. We offer a software package to help you improve your I guess I would say your customer engagement.
All right. So see, what Joseph has just done is baited all of us because now we need to have that one-on-one conversation so we can learn more about exactly how his software helps with customer engagement, because that was just perfect. It's just enough to let you know, wait a minute, I need to know more. That means I need to have a sit down with him. That probably means you need to buy him the cup of coffee so he can explain to you exactly what he does. Joseph, always a pleasure to see you, sir. Lori, let's see. Nick, unmute, please. You're on deck. And Lori, if you would please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lori Stevenson. I eventually want to open a formal English tea house. Excuse the slur. I just had dental surgery. But I'm going to be opening a Patreon account. And I need to know more on how to do that, including the video aspect of it.
Awesome. No worries. Thank you, Lori. I'm very glad that you're here. You've been one of the most consistent business owners visiting us each month. I'm glad to see you virtually once again. Cannot wait to be able to meet you in person and enjoy a spot of tea, no pun on Spot On, with you, Lori. Nick, my good friend Nick, is running about 5 businesses at once, but he'll put his contact information in the chat because he can hear me and he messaged me that he's unable to talk, but he too has ways to get you some more money. And I'm just going to leave it as simple as that because I want him to have the opportunity to share more about what he does when each of us reaches out to him, to the contact information that he'll put in the chat for more. Zinnia, and I hope I said that correctly, if you would unmute and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Zenia Pine, and I'm with Liberty Dental Plan in Northern Nevada. And my partner is here today as well, Eduardo Menchaca. He is in Southern Nevada. And we are looking to connect with community-based organizations.
Well, there you go. There's about 5 of them on the Zoom right now. So that's perfect. And Eduardo, I was going to call on you next. So please share your version of what Zenia has just said.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Not much to add. Everything Sanya said, but yeah, we do focus on Medicare recipients. So you have your own business, your employees have under Medicaid, we would like to reach out to you and just educate on the importance of oral health and encourage them to utilize their dental benefits under Medicaid.
Awesome, awesome. So if you've got benefits you didn't know you had, you have jacked up teeth for no reason, you definitely need to talk to Zinnia up north and Eduardo down south here. And what's really awesome about the north and south is that as a Vegas native, yes, actually born and raised, not a transplant, was actually born in Vegas. I love the friendly rivalry that the South and North has. You know, I put my finger quotes. It's friendly, yeah. And so, but I say that with lots of love because of the several chambers that we have here. We have the Reno Sparks Chamber here. We have the Asian Chamber joining us today. Peter Guzman with the Latin Chamber is here. And so, you know what? Rather than me sit here and blab about who is here, I'm going to give each of them. They are our panelists for this month's event. As the Urban Chamber of Commerce, we wanted to reach out to other chambers. We have a great event each month, thanks to all of you who are here, all of you who are attending today. We have a great event every month we call Coffee and Commerce. And at the Urban Chamber of Commerce, we said we wanted to share the love rather, with other chambers and give all of them an opportunity to meet all of you and for us to get an opportunity to meet all of them. And these are the greatest chambers in the state. I say that because they're here. and I'm sure they will agree with me. I know, excuse me, I know that Peter already has agreed wholeheartedly, like, yes, he's one of the greatest chambers in the state. And not just because he's here, and I'll let him tell you more about that himself in a moment, but we gathered these chambers together because, again, we wanted to share the love, spread the love, especially during Juneteenth, which for those of you that love history, you'll know that Juneteenth is a very, very important month within the traditional African-American experience. And if you don't know, Google it, because this is not the format for me to explain it right now, but definitely was an appropriate month for us to share that kind of love with all of the other communities and other chambers here in all of, thank you, Christine, Nevada. So with that being said, I'm going to start up north and begin our panel discussion, but first allow our panelists to introduce themselves. And again, ladies first, and I'm going to give the North its respect up top, pun intended. Christine, please, and you have a little bit more leeway as a panelist to give us a full introduction of yourself and your chamber.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today. Again, my name is Christine Brown Gallagher. Full disclosure, that name is new. I just got married 2.5 weeks ago, so I'm still getting used to the Gallagher part. But it's a pleasure to be here. It's amazing to know that after a year like what we've had, chambers of commerce their worth has been proven through this entire year. And, seeing all of your faces here today, I'm seeing evidence of that right now. The fact that chambers are more relevant than they ever have been. And, we were there for you during the pandemic, and we're going to continue to be there for you as we come out of the pandemic and as we recover as well. So my title here, my job here is Director of Member Engagement. But that doesn't really adequately describe what really anyone does at a chamber. We all wear a lot of hats. We keep our team pretty lean and mean, and we have 3 full-time staff, 1 part-time staff, and 1 contracted staff worker, our finance director. And so we are running full cylinder all the time to serve our members. My big focus is on partnerships and also on programs. And 2 of the programs that I created during the pandemic that I'm exceptionally proud of are the Business Helping Business Microgrant campaign. We were able to work with our partners to create small microgrants ranging from $500 to $1,000. And we've been able to help about 8 to 10 small businesses and nonprofits by giving them actual physical funds over the course of the pandemic. It's something we're very proud to do, to leverage the leadership of our partners to help the small guys and gals and businesses and nonprofits who are fighting to survive right now. The other program that we created was Chamber EDU. And that's definitely my baby. Chamber EDU has become our educational arm. So it's a way that we get all kinds of non-tangible resources into people's hands. We connect them with people who can give them expertise on marketing, social media execution, leadership, management, accounting, any kind of guidance that a business or nonprofit might need, even personal development, HR guidance. Those are the things that Chamber EDU exists to provide. And I'm excited that even though that emerged out of the pandemic, it's going to continue to be a flagship program for us here at the Reno Sparks Chamber. We also, of course, have our leadership program in its 36th year. We were talking about that right before the call began, and just how powerful it is to have leaders, up and coming emerging leaders, coming together to learn intimately about different sectors of the community, to learn what the challenges and struggles are in our community in terms of education, healthcare, infrastructure, transportation, government, energy, the list goes on. So we're thrilled to offer that 9-month program to folks, which is actually happening today, which is why I'm in a different location other than my office today. We've got a couple other things coming up. We have a health and wellness fair coming up later on this fall. We're also so pleased that our health plan has come back in the game this year. A couple months ago, we got the green light to bring our association health plan back, which is a thrill because we are so passionate about making sure that every business of every size has access to good healthcare. So that is something we were pleased to bring back for everybody. And also our 401k plan. The pandemic really showed a lot of businesses that in order to to care for their employees, in order to be an employer of choice, they need to offer those kinds of benefits. And so again, we're excited that with the strength of our 2,000 plus members here at the Reno Sparks Chamber, we can offer benefits like that at a pretty low cost to a business of any size. So again, it's a thrill to be here. I could go on and on forever, but I won't. I will defer to my colleagues, and I'm just excited to see how strong we are together as chambers in serving our respective communities.
Amen. So thank you, Christine. First of all, thank you, because I asked for the introduction and you gave me the entire introduction. And I respect that. I appreciate that. And one thing I will pick up on is that you shared that as working with the chamber, or even in your position employed with the chamber, you carry or wear many hats. I serve at our chamber as the membership committee chair, and I say serve, which is translation means I don't get paid, but because I serve in that role, they asked me to do stuff like host events. So I understand about wearing many hats. And then they asked me to serve on another board. I'm not mad about it. It's a beautiful thing. I love giving back, as all of us as entrepreneurs do. But I understand about you get extra hats as you go along in this chamber journey. And so I'm going to journey back down south to the Asian Chamber of Commerce. Sunny, please give us an introduction of yourself and your chamber. And we're going to discuss more of the programs and services that our chambers offer in just a moment. But I thank you, Christine, for kicking that off. But Sunny, if you would please just introduce yourself and your chamber.
Sure. Sunny Vinuya, thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure and honor to be here joining you today. Yeah, I've been president of the Asian Chamber of Commerce for the last 6 years. My true enjoyment is really working with the other chambers. Especially, of course, down here in the South, I work a lot with both the Latin and the Urban Chamber. One of the things that we did last year that I was so honored to do was the Tri-Chamber Grant Program that we did. Similar to what Christine did up there in the North, we were able to provide funds to our members here. Other than that, of course, we represent our members in the 3 different important categories. Would be economic development, where we work with different chambers, we work with the city, we work with the state. Entities like LBGA to just help out small businesses, and of course try to attract more businesses to come to our state. We do community affairs, so we do support a lot of our different community organizations that are Asians in particular, of course, and just kind of support them on what they do. And then of course we do have government affairs. We serve as the voice. That's actually probably our biggest challenge. We don't have a lot of representation as Asians in any part of our state government. We only have 2 legislators who are part Asian, no state senators, and none in the county or the city, not even the school board. So it's something that we have to be part of as well. Thank you so much. Looking forward to talking to you more.
Thank you, Sunny. I'm very excited that you're here. And I agree with you that is one of the things that each of our respective chambers that are here today represent is our respective communities, whatever that is. And I'll talk more about that when that time comes, but I definitely appreciate you broaching that topic, because also I know that Peter Guzman shares that feeling amongst others at the Latin Chamber of Commerce. Peter, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Peter Guzman, president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce. And full transparency, what I really said was, I am one of the greatest chambers. And that goes along with my colleagues that are here.
You most certainly did, yes.
And the Urban Chamber. And see, because I believe that, I truly believe this. Confidence is being able to say it. Arrogant is saying it without backing it up. And so I am a confident person. I'm confident that my chamber is making a difference. I'm very proud of the people that I represent. But I'm also very proud that at the Latin Chamber of Commerce, 32% of our growth over the last 5 years has been non-Latino businesses. And that has really, I think, excelled our chamber to another completely level. And so, listen, my philosophy, our philosophy at our chamber, and Beatrice, Carlos, Leo, Jorge, Benitez, that's my permanent staff. You know, they're just amazing. And what we believe in is one thing, and this is what I said when I came to be president a little over 5 years ago. We don't care who walks into our lobby. We ask, how can we help you? That's it. And then we deliver. That's our model. That's our philosophy. And that's what we're going to be doing. And that's what we continue to do. We believe that our first mission at the Latin Chamber of Commerce is to make sure that there's an environment for small business to succeed. It all starts and ends there. Yes, we get involved in social injustices and social issues because they're equally or more important, but it must start with the ability for people to be entrepreneurs, be capitalists, and also create jobs, because that creates dignity for a person to be able to take care of their families. So listen, I'm going to get off my soapbox. That's how I operate. That's what I believe each and every day. And that's what I do.
No, you know what? Your soapbox is exactly where you belong, because on your soapbox, all of our respective soapboxes is where we get to stand, shout from the rooftops or soapbox who we are, what we represent, and what we're about. That is, in my humble opinion, one of the beauties of the country in which we live, warts and all, is that we actually have the opportunity to do that and to say who we are and what we're about and what we believe. And one of the things that I believe all of us as chambers and all of us as entrepreneurs believe is in the growth of our particular economies. And that is what chambers of commerce are all about. And
Exactly.
I understand, and Peter, you're 100% correct.
And Darren, I appreciate you saying that and reinforcing it, because that is exactly right. And I think it's important for business owners to know, back to the confident thing, because I grew up in a house where confidence and self-esteem were the killers of cancer. That's what my dad always told me. And so you listen, when I sit across my financial planner or my banker, you're darn right I want him to be confident. Otherwise, he's not getting my money. And so as business owners, we must exude confidence. We must be able to back it up.
I agree completely. And so I'm just going to stick a pin in that real quick and encourage all of you as entrepreneurs to be confident in what it is that you do. Because personal story, very quick. Obviously, I'm sorry, let me back up. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Darren Mitchell. The company that I represent is Legal Shield. A good leader referral for me is any business owner or business professional that understands the importance of having access to a team of legal professionals as well as consultants to both protect and grow your business. Now, I share that because no one can say to me that what I provide is not valuable, because I'm very confident in the services that I provide. I want to congratulate the newest Mrs. Gallagher on her wedding, because the other hat, speaking of hats, that I wear when I'm not protecting families and businesses and not networking with professionals like yourself, I'm a wedding DJ, which means they actually pay me to dress sharp and party with people I've never met before on the happiest day of their life. And one of the things that I exude when I walk into a room, wearing a nice suit, looking sharper than most grooms. I'm not serious. Yes, I am. Is they're like, oh my goodness, you look so sharp. You walk so confidently. It's like, because I have to act like I know what I'm doing. Otherwise, as the bride and groom, you're not going to trust me to make sure that you're going to have a good time. So even if it's a setting I'm not familiar with or comfortable with, I've got to act like it. And so as entrepreneurs, I will encourage you in whatever your entrepreneurial venture or ventures are, or even as high-level business professionals, walk confidently in what it is that you're doing, because I assure you from experience on a number of levels that will grow your business. Because when you exude that confidence and not arrogance, as Peter eloquently put it, you will then attract more people. That's a whole nother conversation. You start talking about attracting things by how you act. That's a whole different conversation. But I can recommend some books on the topic. I'm reading this one, Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting. Definitely recommend this book. Anyway, this is not book club either. This is a bunch of chambers that got together and said, let's talk about ourselves so we can show the business community at large how we're helping them. And Christine gave us a rundown of some of the programs that she has there up north. Sunny has done the same, and Peter as well. And so what I would like to ask each chamber in a more narrow and specific, what is the vision and mission of your respective chambers? I'm going to go back up north to Christine, and just what is your mission and your vision at the chamber, at your chamber up north?
Of course. So, ours is very similar to what Sunny and Peter expressed as well. We exist to advocate for our members. We exist to inform our members, and we exist to connect our members to resources, both tangible and non-tangible, and to each other, because we recognize and embrace the fact that that human connection is the backbone of every chamber of commerce. And, you know, we are so pleased that in this year in which connection was so much more difficult, we were able to find ways to keep people connected, not just to resources, but to one another. But, you know, to Sunny's point, you know, one of the big jobs of chambers, and we're the same, is advocacy. And we just concluded a legislative session where, you know, our CEO, Ann Silver, was sometimes on the phone until 2 a.m. to give testimony on bills that, you know, that we believed were going to be bad for business. It was a tough session, and I know, you know, speaking for Ann, I know that, you know, it was definitely one of the more difficult sessions to endure, especially with so many COVID restrictions hindering that connection. But, you know, we look forward to continuing to advocate for our members. And, you know, in particular, one area that that we really have labeled as important and made a priority is green business and moving business into the future. So if I were to share, you know, something aside from our mission, I would say our vision is to continue to move businesses into the future, and also to be the connection point between small businesses and the workforce, to become even more of that hinge in the community that allows our workforce to be engaged and to connect to businesses that are going to employ them. And to Peter's point, bring the dignity of work to our community. You know, workforce participation numbers in Nevada are pretty abysmal at the moment, and continue to slowly climb back up. And so we're hoping that, you know, especially in the next year to 2 years, that we can really get men and women in our community, human beings in our community, back to work.
Awesome. Thank you, Christine. And again, I keep saying up north, I want to pay proper respect. The Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce. It's the Vegas in me. Everything above Clark County is up north, but the Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce. Want to be proper respectful. Sunny, your vision and mission.
Well, as I said earlier, ours is truly to be the voice of our business members. That's one of the most important things for us, and for many reasons. As far as the chambers are concerned, all of us have pretty much very, very similar goals in what we want to achieve, but we also have some unique issues that we have to deal with, especially in the minority chambers. Ours, one of our issues, for example, is the vast diversity of the Asian community. I mean, there's 48 different countries under the Asian ethnicity, and then 13 islands. I'm not sure if everybody was familiar with that, which means a lot of different backgrounds. One of the things is we try to be the voice for that when it comes to business. Now, we do have a lot of restaurants, for example. And a few years ago, when I first became the president, one of the issues that we had, we kept on getting demerits that I thought were unnecessary from the health district. And one of the reasons for that was they just didn't know our food. So we had to be that conduit to step up and explain to them, hey, kimchi is like aged cheese. You cannot throw it out after X amount of hours or days, because it's not just a vegetable, but it has to be fermented. Or, hey, you cannot make sushi with gloves. They have to feel it. They have to feel the texture. They've been doing that over 100 years. So it's not something that you cannot change now. So little things like that, to the most recent one that we had. And this one does not even involve business, but it's talking about cultural competency. The CCSD, for example, when their stay-at-home program that they had was they're requiring the teachers to wear shoes, which I didn't understand, because it was, you know, it's a Zoom thing. I mean, they don't pan down to look at the shoes, but see, for example, Asians don't wear shoes at home, so they just don't do that. They leave their shoes by the door. So it goes up against. So it's a lot of things like that. A lot of representation. Besides, of course, being a resource for business, we're here to help out any startup business that wants to start up, or any kind of resource that they need. That's became our number one job during the pandemic. Is just really become a resource on the types of help that's available out there. Another issue that we have is language, and it's not as simple as translating a one-page application form into Vietnamese, for example, about the PPP loans. It doesn't work that way. They still don't understand the process, what it entails, if it's really going to be forgiven or not. So we actually have to spend time with each member and go through the process with them, explain to them the whole process before they had the full confidence in applying for it. So in a nutshell, I mean, there's a lot more than that, but yeah, I want to take up a lot of these times. But yeah, that's kind of like our mission, is really be a representation of our members. So.
And that is that, and I believe that, and I'm going to get to Peter in a moment because I know he's got a very eloquent response already prepared. I mean that sincerely, because I know that each of us as chambers, that is why we are chambers of commerce, because we are those advocates. We are there to stand in that gap, as it were, for our respective communities, both business and social communities. So Peter, please, the vision and mission of the Latin Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, so listen, the vision and mission, it's not unlike other chambers. I mean, we exist to help the small businesses thrive. We advocate for them. We fight for them in Carson City, just recently during our legislative session. So that's kind of what my whole focus is, right? At the same time, as a chamber, we have to remember, and this is what has gotten chambers in other states in trouble, is that they forget that. So I, as a chamber, I not only have to fight for my businesses, but I have to run my chamber as a business as well. You can't fall into that trap where you're a nonprofit and then forget to run the chamber as a business, because then you won't succeed and you won't be able to help people. So I have to wear two hats, right? I have to fight on behalf of others, and at the same time, I have to fight on behalf of my chamber, and I have to run the chamber as a business. And this pandemic absolutely proved that. I mean, while I was advocating to small businesses that you must now pivot during this COVID, you must now pivot, you must now offer curbside, you must be the cleanest. We had to do that. I had to pivot the chamber into a virtual world, and I mean, very, very quickly, and we did. And that's why I say very humbly, our last 6 months, we've had a humongous growth spurt. Like, we have so many new members over the last 6 months and new revenue that it's all because of what we did when the pandemic hit us. We pivoted. And I could say that I'm proud to say our Latino businesses, the majority of them did really well during COVID. Why? Because they pivoted. They unfortunately had to get rid of some employees, but they brought in family members to work in there, and they rolled up their sleeves and they got to work. And so we can't lose sight of that. We still are running a business. So my vision is to be an advocate for the small business community to thrive, to create environments for them to thrive, and to run my chamber as a successful business. Because if we're successful, we can successfully help other businesses.
Yeah, I told y'all he had an eloquent response already ready. I told you he was ready. And Peter, I want to piggyback on something that you said as far as pivoting. And the very fact that we're having this conversation virtually lets you know how all businesses and chambers, who you are correct, is also a business entity, whether it's a for or nonprofit business, it is a business entity, how we've all needed to pivot. And while we were advocating and educating and providing resources and opportunities for the businesses that we serve, we too have to lead by example and continue to change with the times. And again, I'm not here to toot our horn as the Urban Chamber of Commerce or anything along those lines, because we all have advocates within government. Chandel Newsom, our board of our chair, as well as Ken Evans, either sit on boards or are constantly going to Reno, hey Christine, to attend various legislative events, and various members of our board do that because we are all advocating for our respective communities of business and the business community at large. Because here at the Urban Chamber, and I know all of the chambers on our panels will agree with this, we not just serve our specific communities, but we understand that it's about the green, it's about the money. And yes, I said T, I put that T in there on purpose to emphasize I'm not completely illiterate, just partially. It is about the money and ensuring that we have the funds we need to generate to grow our respective communities. We understand, as all chambers do, especially here at the Urban Chamber of Commerce, because this is my home, that we understand that in the urban communities, the way to increase that or to decrease rather that gap between the so-called urban community and communities at large, that financial gap, is by helping that small business. Because even as Peter said, when you help those small businesses, then they can grow to bigger businesses that continue to employ more people within that community, and then that community can grow and be more prosperous. And then when we begin to recycle those dollars within any given community, then you're able to see that growth at the community at large. And so again, as chambers, we are all striving to do that, again, for either our particular ethnic communities, for the small business community, because we know, and I think everyone on this Zoom knows, that it will help the community at large, the entire state, to grow and prosper as we've continued to do. And so with that being said, I want to talk about some more resources. Again, I know that we've touched on it a little bit, and I know one of the themes here at the Urban Chamber of Commerce, since we talked about vision and mission, is to provide resources, policies, and opportunity for our members and for the small business community. And so all of us are doing that in various ways. But I'd like to talk about, or ask you to talk about, some specific resources that are unique to your chamber, or that you'd like to share with us, that your chamber is offering, that other businesses can take advantage of. I'm going to go backwards this time. Peter, if I could start with you, some resources that your chamber provides to the business community.
Well, from the very simple things of coming in and meeting with Carlos, who heads up our economic development, so he can help you get licenses and start a business from A to Z. So if you're a startup, so that's one of the resources. But we at the chamber, we constantly have webinars in person. Now we're back into in person. We just had our Desayunos con Amigos, which was well attended, and then we have dollars. So we have access to small funds, small business funds for small businesses, which is the main resource. I mean, listen, you can get educated to death, but you at some point you need access to capital. So we're constantly fighting for access to capital. We have some huge announcements coming up that are going to have to do with economic development and capital and dollars that are going to be available. And that's an ongoing thing for me on a daily basis. I mean, entrepreneurs need access to things like statistics and capital. And so Nevada Grow is a program that is a great program that will provide statistics. We have Nevada Grow housed in our chamber. I know some of the other chambers do as well. But at the end of the day, it's the access to bankers, to capital, to loans. That's the main resource that a chamber should be providing. And my philosophy is, if somebody comes to me and I need to walk them to inside a bank to meet with the bank president, I do that. I do that almost every week, especially prior to COVID. I mean, we were doing that often. That's really where the chamber's strengths are.
I agree completely. One of my favorite urban chamber stories is, and I'm just going to shamelessly plug this business in her absence, Danette Brode with Brode's Funnel Cake. She makes the absolute best funnel cakes in the city, in the state. And if you don't believe me, you have to go to Town Square and try them. And if you don't like them, then something's wrong with your taste buds. I say that lovingly. But one of my favorite stories is that when she was having trouble getting her business launched in the area that it is now, she was able to actually pick up the phone and just like Peter mentioned, call our chamber. Ken Evans had the opportunity to actually walk her to the state building and walk her through that process, because some of her paperwork, she was similar to some of the things that Sunny mentioned as far as the uniqueness of her equipment, not even necessarily the uniqueness of the food, but the uniqueness of her equipment was giving her issues with the state and getting the licenses and clearances and all the stuff that I don't understand, because that's not my wheel of influence. But he was able to actually walk her through that. And so again,
Well,
just
Darren,
as Peter just said, that's what we do as chambers. Go ahead, sir.
Well, Darren, it's even more powerful than that. So Ken Evans not only walked her through the state to get her light on, he walked her into my office. And together, me and Ken were able to get her a $15,000 grant. So we've helped her tremendously.
There you go. So
that's
just
the collaboration efforts between chambers. That's the power of it.
I appreciate you throwing that in. And I was giving the light version of her story because it's not mine to tell. I just wanted to give a piece of it. But I appreciate you sharing that, because what that also says is that as chambers, we all, and you've heard this already, we've all said it in our own unique ways. We're all here for all of you. And so there is no, what's the word I'm looking for? No competition between us as chambers. We all work together. There's cooperation between all of us. And that is just one example of, and this event is just one example of the cooperation that we wish as chambers to share with all of you. And so with that, I'm going to continue working my way around the panel. Pardon me. I need some more of my spinach apparently. Sunny, some resources specific that your chamber offers to the business community.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So yes, so it will be the same, very similar to what Peter and Catherine have already said. We offer, working with the SBA, access to capital, the most important things. The one thing that's very unique to my chamber is really the translation services that we do. And I highlight that because, when you say translation, sometimes say, oh, okay, that's easy. Google can translate. But it's very different when you have to explain to them the whole process. So, okay, I like using restaurants as an example because out of our 661 members, 150 of them are restaurant owners. And if you want to open a restaurant right now, you have to download a 600-page reference manual from the health district, and it's only offered in English. So you have to go through that with them, and kind of like we have some consultants that we use in the restaurant business that are volunteers, for example, that can help them walk through them on that. So translation services is something that's very unique to us. The PPP, that was our biggest, I guess, example on why it's so needed. I'm also a banker. So when you say serving, Darren, I've been serving the Asian Chamber for the past 6 years now. I'm not paid. I'm the full-time president, but it's a volunteer work. And so one of the things that we found out is that a lot of our Asian businesses were not applying because they needed more attention on hand-holding on how the process looks like. So we had to go out of our way and do webinars for PPP specifically for different communities with somebody that they trusted, like the Vietnamese community. I did one for the Thai community, the Filipino community. And that was the only time when they started applying. A lot of them were independent contractors that really could use the money. And what they call this, a lot of them applied for the first time. They didn't even apply last year. So that's the biggest resource that we can offer besides the ones that the main chambers have. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, because one of the things that I heard, which I'm not going to ignore, is that you are the full-time president in an unpaid position, a full-time job, unpaid position. That to me speaks to the heart of not just your chamber, but you as a person. And no disrespect to anyone that is getting paid, no disrespect to anyone that's not. You're doing what you're doing for the love of the game, as we say. And so I could not walk past that, son. Go ahead.
I just want to thank you because I do have challenges with that. And I cannot tell you the support that I get, especially from the man down there right there, Mr. Peter Guzman. He keeps me updated on everything that's going on, always watches out for me. So the collaboration, Ken has done the same for the Urban Chamber. If without them, it's hard. So thank you.
No, and thank you. And again, I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because again, that speaks to the collaboration. That's the word I was trying to say earlier, that all of us as chambers share to uplift our respective communities, and again, the small business community at large. And so, Christine, I know you listed several earlier, but I know that you have more, or you want to highlight a couple of the resources that you provide at the Reno Tahoe Chamber. Or Reno Sparks Chamber, pardon me. I was looking at the sign behind you.
Oh, I know. I tried to make it as confusing as possible. So
mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
Yes, to your point, I've already lined out, quite a bit of, our flagship programming, our healthcare program, 401k, our in-person networking, our educational programming. The list goes on and on. I think that especially right now, and I think that my colleagues at other chambers would agree with this, it's also our job to be a canary in a coal mine and to see the writing on the wall and to read the tea leaves, to use all the euphemisms available it's our job to look ahead and anticipate the need. And so,
Mhm.
you know, when we look ahead and anticipate the need, we're looking at a workforce crisis, a jobs crisis here in our region, you know, a workforce that, you know, needs to be engaged and wants to be engaged, and employers who need to focus on becoming employers of choice, offering the kinds of benefits that employees need right now more than ever, and making those connections. And so, you know, one of the things that we're doing actually next week, next Wednesday, is hosting a job fair. And we've gotten more than 80 businesses to participate in this job fair for all job seekers. And not just chamber members, but also other businesses in the community have been invited to participate as well. This is more than just, you know, a chamber membership benefit. This is about becoming a catalyst for the change that needs to happen in our region. We know that our region is changing. Much like Peter, we've gotten a huge influx of members in the last couple of months. It's absolutely been incredible to watch. But what's interesting about those members that are coming on board now is that they're not necessarily local. They're coming from Vegas, they're coming from the Bay Area, they're coming from other states that are in the western region, because people are looking to expand their markets and to expand into new markets. And because of this technology boom that we've seen, we're able to do that now. And so we've got members who are not just here in Reno Sparks, but also in Northern Nevada and across the West. And I only see that continuing. And so I think these partnerships that we have as chambers regionally together are only going to become more important because our region is expanding through technology. So another area that I briefly mentioned, but I'll be more specific now, is with green business. So, you know, we're seeing all sorts of legislation coming out at the federal level and also here at the state level in support of green business and to build that infrastructure. And we're seeing those sectors booming here in Northern Nevada. And I know in Southern Nevada they are as well. And so one of the things that we are trying to do, especially not just in response to legislation, but in response to consumer sentiment that says, I want to do business with businesses that are green. I want to do business with businesses who are responsible socially and environmentally. We want to equip our members and we want to equip businesses to meet that need, to meet that consumer need, and also to meet this wave of the future, our future economy. And so we just recently held a 7-week green business certification seminar. And our next step, which, you know, we're hoping to do, and we expect we will be able to do in the next few months, is to expand that program and take it on the road, especially to the rural counties. So taking that education, taking that green business certification tool and bringing it to businesses who need it across the state.
That is amazing, and I'm glad that you broached the topic of our respective regions growing with technology, because the business community has been saying for years that the world is shrinking because of technology. Yes. And one of the benefits of the pandemic, yes, I said benefits of the pandemic, has been that we've seen an acceleration of that. And Sunny mentioned this in the pre-call, that we are moving into a world not just of or. You know, are we going to do virtual or in person? We are moving into a world of and. It's going to be and as business owners, as you said, we're the canaries in the coal mine. I didn't think anyone else knew that reference. Thank you. And I might be the only one that does. If you're not familiar, Google it. But in all seriousness, it is our responsibility as chambers to be able to say, here's what's coming. And so as entrepreneurs or as business owners, yes, we're entering a world of and where you now have the ability to grow outside of your region. Another reason I'm so excited that Christine is even here from the Reno, Tahoe, Sparks areas, because this is just another sign of, hey, we actually did the coffee and commerce we did last month. We had a gentleman from, I forget which country, it just wasn't the United States. So even outside of the country, you have an opportunity now, even more than before, because of the climate of business, to be outside of your particular region. And so I'm so excited that you brought that up, and now you're taking your show on the road, pun intended. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. speaking of beautiful things, we have a bunch of beautiful people on the line. I've not given y'all an opportunity to ask questions of our panel. I mean, we've been up here chatting and talking. I know that there's been good information that has been shared. I know it's been valuable because all of you are still here. If it wasn't, y'all have left. But what I would like to do is open it up to questions. And of course, you can, physically raise your hand, use the raise hand feature on the Zoom, or throw your question in the chat, which actually Lori did do. And I'm going to direct this to the entire panel. But Sonny mentioned very eloquently and adequately the fact that translation is a large part of what his chamber does for the community that they serve, which makes a whole lot of sense. But the question then is, do any of our chambers, and I honestly don't know if ours does, Delisa can help me because she always helps me, do any of the chambers offer ASL translation, ASL meaning American Sign Language? Is that something that any of us do?
We don't here at the Urban Chamber. However, one of our staff members does know ASL, but we don't offer that currently.
So it's not an official offering.
No.
But just like all of us as chambers, we know we know people. We got a guy.
Yes.
Right.
Sonny,
And
Christine, Peter.
exactly the power
So
that
at the
that we can connect you. I mean, even if we don't have anyone in house, we can connect you, and we will connect you, even if we don't, know who it is right off the top of our head. We're all great at research. We're all great at making connections and making those connections. And so, I think that's true for all of us. If we can't offer it to you firsthand, we will find someone who will.
Peter?
So we do have some translation services at the Latin Chamber of Commerce. If it gets to, be more after a certain level, then we will connect you with one of our resources, which is one of our members that does it at a higher level. But on a daily basis, we do minor translations for a lot of our businesses who can't quite afford yet to hire, a firm. So we do a little bit of that.
Awesome. And Sonny, I know you mentioned you do translations for, I think you mentioned over 40 Asian countries and about a dozen islands.
Well, the most common ones, of course, Chinese, Filipino, not much in Filipino because they do speak English, but Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese are the most common ones that we need translation for. We don't have one in-house that does American Sign Language. But we can definitely connect if that's what's needed. We will, like Christine said, I'm sorry, we will find the person that would be able to do that for us. So thank you.
One of the things that I think all of us said in a roundabout sort of way, and this is the power of a chamber, is that we're a group of businesses. So again, even if we don't offer it as a part of our quote chamber services or resources, we know someone. And when we say we know someone, I'm not speaking from the, Vegas, gangster, I know a guy, although sometimes I am. It's from the fact that as groups of businesses, we have resources and connections with other businesses, and somebody will have that. And so that is the power of being a part of an organization such as these, because that puts you in front of other people that have the things that you need, even if it doesn't come directly from the chamber. I've shared this in this setting before. The service that I provide with Legal Shield, and this is not a plug for my business, although I said it anyway, isn't the fact that I went to the chamber and the chamber bought my service. It's the fact that they put me in front of a bunch of other people that need what I've got, and I've been able to continue to grow my business as a result of that. So even if it's not the chamber itself, it is all the people that the chamber brings to you and puts in front of you where you can benefit your business, which is why Lori asked the question. She's like, look, I don't know if the chamber offers this, but all these people are here. Let's put it out there. And if you know someone that offers that ASL translation, please private message Lori, because I'm excited for her business to get open because I like tea. So with that being said, I know Tish, you had a question or comment that you wanted to share.
Yeah, I did. I just wanted to remind everyone that on June 15th and on June 22nd, we're going to be doing a risk management seminar, just a classroom about 2 hours long, where I'm going to be going over SBA guidelines in regards to risk management. And then following that on the 22nd, I'm going to be doing the same, but with insurance services. The cool thing about Capstone Brokerage is we do risk management and insurance. So that's my specialty. That's where most of my knowledge consists, and that's where I'll be able to help you guys. So please join us 9 a.m. on June 15th and then also on June 22nd so we can help get your business started right.
So put that information in the chat, first of all. And second of all, this is another resource. So again, it's not something that the chambers are necessarily doing, but our membership is doing things that will continue to help you grow, protect, and build your business. Let me look in the chat. Is anyone else have any questions? I know Damon's camera, I think his camera just came back on. Anyone with questions, comments to share or ask of the panel? Or y'all just gonna sit here and take notes and be quiet and then watch the show? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna sell popcorn next time. I don't know how many. I'm gonna figure out, and we have resources to get it to you. One of the beautiful things we did at our chambers, we had a luncheon. You laugh at it, Lisa. We've done it, and by we I mean you. I just ate my sandwich. We actually did a luncheon, a virtual luncheon, where we contracted with one of our partners, and they delivered lunches all morning, so that when the luncheon came, we could all be virtually networking and eating our lunch together. So, you know, we're gonna figure out how to sell popcorn and get delivered to y'all. Yes, even up north, Christine, we'll figure that out. Anyway. Here's what I'm going to do. I would like to ask our panelists, and this is one of the questions that was given to me, and it is not a trick question. I'm saying it that way because I have about 5 different answers in my head. But the question reads, to talk about the composition of your membership and the primary target audience of your chamber. And I'm going to start again with Christine, the primary target audience of your chamber.
Well, it's interesting, you know, the makeup between North and South is very different. And in our region, there really aren't a whole lot of chambers. I know in the Vegas region, you have quite a few, dozens of chambers of commerce in Vegas. Here up in Reno Sparks, we really don't have very many. And so really our target audience is anyone and everyone. Do you have a business? Are you looking to start a business? Are you a nonprofit? Are you a big business who's been here for many years? Are you a big business who's coming from out of state and you're looking to establish your footprint? Our doors are wide open. And again, in our office, we literally don't have any doors. So our doors are completely open to anyone and everyone in the business community, because we know we all need each other to survive and to thrive. You know, Panasonic and Tesla need small businesses to survive, because if not for that, how is this ecosystem going to work if people don't have quality of life, if people don't have places to get groceries, if people don't have places to get good healthcare and services, if people don't have places to eat and to drink and be merry, if those things don't exist, then none of these companies exist. And so again, we're here to serve everybody, and nobody will ever get turned away.
Emphasis on eat, drink, and be merry, just because
yes.
we haven't been able to get out and do those things as much. I'm going to change order just a little bit, because why not? Peter, primary target audience of your chamber, composition of your membership.
Composition of our membership, like I said, over the last 5 years, 32% of our growth has been non-Latino. So our composition is, you know, from the one man mom and pop shop to, you know, the biggest companies in Nevada, and everything in between. And that's what we want. We want you know, the philosophy is the more we have a diversity in our membership, the greater chance other businesses have to do business with other businesses. So that's why we look for that intentionally, go out and try to get industries, small, large, huge, and in all facets of business, so that potentially, you know, one of you can do business with one of them, and we can pick up the phone and connect you guys. That's, again, what a chamber should be doing, and that's what we do.
I agree completely. Sonny, same question.
Yes, so my composition is very similar to Peter's, probably about 70-30%. And one of the premise of being a minority chamber, of course, is we want to connect our members to the large corporations that we have here so they can do business, like Peter said. So that's primarily what we do. We're open for everybody. We provide a platform for everybody to be able to showcase the service or product that they sell and they do, and find them a way to connect them to other companies that need that service or product. So, thank you.
And Darren, I apologize. I got to dip out in about 3 minutes. I got two ribbon cuttings today, grand openings, that I need to prepare to get to.
All I heard was business is happening and growth is taking place. So
There you go.
So with that being said, I'm going to take that opportunity to thank, as we continue slightly and then continue to wrap up, I want to thank all of our panelists, Peter Guzman, Christine Brown Gallagher, Sonia Vanua, for joining us today at the Urban Chamber of Commerce, Coffee and Commerce, but it wasn't just the Urban Chamber of Commerce. We had the Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce, Latin Chamber of Commerce, Asian Chamber of Commerce, and all of us, our target audience is all of you. Because as Richard Pryor said in one of my favorite comedy sketches, we want those crossover dollars. And if you don't know the sketch, YouTube it.
Right.
But the reality is, it's really all about helping us grow economically, regardless of what you look like, where you come from, or who you sleep with. We want to help all of our businesses grow. Yeah, I said it to Lisa, because that chamber didn't show up, but I know that they want to be represented, because representation is important. Isn't that right, Sonny? You said that specifically earlier. So with that, because I don't see any other questions popping up.
Darren, can I just say one thing? Since you brought up
You
Lisa?
beat me too. I was going to say, you go ahead and say your closing comments, and then I'll continue around.
Okay, great. I didn't mean to jump in, but I just wanted to thank Delisa, because Delisa does so much, and I appreciate all that she does. It actually helps me, and she works with Beatrice when it needs to. And Delisa, I just think that you're a rock star, and thank you for all that you do. And since it's a closing, I just want to say thank you to all of you for taking this first step to network and improve your businesses. And I want to thank the Urban Chamber, of course, Ken Evans, and all of you for allowing me to have the privilege and honor of being here today.
Thank you for being here, Peter, for your leadership at the Latin Chamber. And you're right, Delisa is a rock star. She's all of our bosses, even if we don't know it. She's most definitely a rock star. And again, thank you, Peter, for all that you do with the Latin Chamber, for being here and serving with us this morning, and for your leadership. I'm going to go back up north to Christine. Closing thoughts, words, ideas.
This is an incredible thing. The fact that all of us can be together like this from so many different places in our state and come together and unite. And so I think we need to continue to do this. We need to continue to meet this way, and we need to continue to meet each other where we are. And, even as we're returning to in-person gathering, I hope we can continue this dialogue together. And again, of course, each of our chambers is, squarely focused on our members, but I think none of us have a club mentality. And I think that's what's really special and really important about all of our chambers and the way we collaborate, is that we don't have a club mentality that you have to pay to play. You have to, be a member in order to obtain every resource. We're all here for each other. And so if there's anything you need in Reno Sparks at any time, you have my contact information. Again, we don't have doors here, so our doors are always open to you, literally and figuratively. And it's such an honor to be here with all of you today.
Thank you, Christine. You're right. This is I'm sorry. I'm stuck on the no doors, because that means it's always open. Sonny, closing thoughts, words, ideas.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you again for inviting me and being here. It's truly an honor. Thank you, Ken. I think the Urban Chamber, and of course, the special thing is Delisa. I know how it is to have a rock star like you. I can't survive without Yoko in my chamber. So believe me, I'm sure Ken cannot live without you. So, but thank you. Same here. We're open for anybody. Just call us if there's anything that we can do for you. And help out. I love the collaboration that we do, and I'm with Christine. We need to do this more. So thank you so much, and until the next time.
Again, I would like to thank Reno Sparks Chamber, Asian Chamber, and of course the Latin Chamber of Commerce for joining us. I'm just going to put it out there. We as the Urban Chamber of Commerce invited a lot of chambers, all of them, and these are the ones that showed up. And so I want to make sure that I give them the proper respect for their presence here, because all of us have said it in one form or another. This level of collaboration is not just today. It extends beyond this meeting. Peter has mentioned several collaborations that he's had directly with Ken, and all of us have as well. But I want to just say, I want to give proper respect due to all three of these chambers that joined us this morning, because when we put this together months ago, these were the ones that responded and showed up. So I can't say that enough, because we couldn't have done this event in this way without each and every one of you. So with that being said, I want to thank our panelists for joining us today, for sharing knowledge, information, and I encourage all of our attendees today to stay in contact with each of these chambers and learn more about what they're about. And again, as Christine pointed out, just because we're here in Southern Nevada, some of us anyway, because Zinnia is up north with you, we can still be a part of what each of us are doing. But speaking of what we're doing, there are a couple of events that are happening here at the Urban Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to make everyone aware of them before we wrap up. Delisa is the bomb. She's got it already set up for me, so I can just talk because I'm good at that. And so let's see, that's small. I can't see that yet. What? Oh, I see what you've done. There it is. All right, so Money Smart Workshop Series. So we've talked about the need for money, the importance of having it, but more important than getting it is making sure that you manage it and use it properly. So the Money Smart Workshop Series every Tuesday started April 20th through July 20th, 9 a.m. It's a virtual meeting. All the details, of course, at urbanchamber.org, so you can learn how to keep that money that all of these different organizations are putting out there. Next, Urban Chamber of Commerce IT Roundtable. We talked about this also, about the fact that one of the reasons that our business communities are shrinking and we're able to move into different markets outside of our respective geographic areas is because of technology. And so the IT Roundtable Information Technology is one of the many roundtables we have here at the Urban Chamber of Commerce where we broaden that. And then, of course, as I said at the top, one of the reasons that we wanted to have this event this month is because of Juneteenth at the Urban Chamber of Commerce. That, you know, that's code for Black. Unashamedly Black. We wanted to make sure that we showed the love to all of the chambers, but that love comes from the fact that Juneteenth Jubilee Celebration Breakfast on June 18th, the day before Juneteenth, for those of you that are being very strict on your history, 10:30 to 1. I need to get my ticket to this. It's going to be at the Cosmopolitan, where we're going to be, the NAACP, the local branch here in Southern Nevada, is going to be celebrating Juneteenth on June 18th, a celebratory brunch attire. That means get your seersucker suit out. Virtual Connect, this is awesome. This is, speaking of pivoting, Virtual Connect began as Direct Connect, our monthly evening networking event. We pivoted to make it a monthly evening virtual networking event, and the next one is going to be on June 17th. That's next Thursday, 5 p.m. We have a great speaker, Mr. Brandon Ward, who's going to be sharing great information on business on Juneteenth on a lot of topics, because he is one of the smartest gentlemen that he knows. If you don't believe him, just ask him. He's going to be sharing great information. Healthcare Roundtable. Oh, this is new. Our health, our business. And so your physical health, your mental health, because I see Mingo Health Services, very important. So on the 29th of June at 11 a.m., our Healthcare Roundtable is launching to help you get more information on that. So what else do we have? We have more business pitch competition, hashtag get some more money. We have several startup businesses that are here today, and this is an opportunity for you to pitch your business to some high-level business professionals. That's code for people with money and people who want to fund your business. And this is an opportunity for you to get some of that funding. And so the next one is going to be the end of July. So you have plenty of time to get your pitch ready and get it together. And if the next flyer is what I think it is, it's an opportunity. Yes, I was right. If you're not sure how to put together a pitch and talk in front of people, you definitely want to join Toastmasters. And the Urban Chamber of Commerce has a chapter that we host, the Lunchtime Talkers. They meet the first and third Thursday at noon. They're still meeting virtually, but that is your opportunity to learn how to speak good and talk good and junk. And so yes, I said that on purpose, because if there are any Toastmasters here like Delisa is, she would have called me, the grammarian would have caught me on that, and I probably said about 7 uhs and ums throughout the morning as well. But with that being said, once again, I want to thank our panelists, Sunny, Christine, Peter. We're on a first name basis now, if you didn't know, for joining us this morning and sharing from their wealth of knowledge and expertise. I want to thank all of our attendees for joining and networking. And so, as I say every month at the Coffee and Commerce, for the people that you've met or want to get to know, now is your opportunity, because they put their information in the chat, to reach out to them. And again, as I said earlier, what we're not going to do is reach out to them and say, hey, buy my widget. Don't call Tish and say, you need to buy what I've got. No, call Tish. Hey, Tish, let's get together for coffee, whether in person or virtually, so I can learn more about what you do. I can share more about what I do. And if we become customers of one another, great. But worst case scenario, we have an opportunity to be referral partners for each other, because that is how we all grow our networks. This is how all of our chambers grow, by growing our network, and then that is how you grow your net worth. I am Darren Mitchell on behalf of the Urban Chamber of Commerce. Good morning.